Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. So I want to take a look here at Apple, which is has their earnings after the bell. Amazon, earnings after the bell. MSTR, MicroStrategies, that's after the bell. And Gilead Science, that's also after the bell here today. Okay, this video is for information purposes only. I don't recommend to buy some stock, not ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Alrighty, here we have Apple. Okay, now since they had that big show that they always have, like in September, this stock has been really just right up on the move. Okay, where you can see here we had this consolidation situation, and now look at here, we have a low, a higher low, and a higher low situation, and a nice series of higher highs. Okay, bottom left, upper right, that's what you always want. That's very, very bullish. Now let's just say where we are here today. Now you can see here we're putting in this new high at 274.14 level. Okay, now their earnings are usually come out right about 4:30. They're a little bit late, kind of situation. But again, this could be a very big tell on see how everything is shaking out for them. Not just the sales of the phones and all that kind of stuff, but really is how their AI strategy and everything going forward. That's going to be very, very key. Now you got to be a little bit careful here because look at now Microsoft had good numbers yesterday, and that stock is down about 16. Meta, they got good numbers, but they're spending. They got to get that spending under control. That stock is down 94, okay? Now, NVIDIA is down, and we're going to take a look here at Amazon here next, okay? So, realistically, you got to be just a little bit careful, and it always depends not only just what the earnings are, but what are the guidance going forward and what they have to say. Okay, so when we look at this RSI here, we're getting right to that 70 mark. That's like an overbought condition. You can see here how we had it in the past, and not say it can't stay there kind of situation, but every time we got up to that area, it looked like it just wants to pull down a little bit. All right, so again, this is a really, really good run. I'll be selling half into the earnings, and then I always sell the other half. But I always buy it way ahead of time, 3-4 weeks ahead of time, and then I run it up into the earnings. That's how I usually trade these big companies like this. So Apple, I really trade like 5 times a year. It goes into the earnings, okay, and then I always trade into that nice conference that they have like in September. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a long-term holder of also Apple, but I always do it in stages. I have a long position, and I always do a trading position also. Okay, so what we have here today, we've got the 174.14. If this keeps rolling, obviously the obvious target is you're going to work yourself up to that 300 mark. Okay, that's just going to be very simple. Now, on the downside here, we want to watch, obviously, is today's low. That's that 268 level. But realistically, you want to watch this 265. That's going to be very, very key. Then we want to come over here to the top of that candle right there. That's that 259 level. It lines up very, very nice here with the 257. That's going to be all very, very key. Now, we also have to watch the bottom of this candle if it does sell through 255.48. There's your gap, and then we want to look at 253.38. So we have a gap, and then we have a fill kind of a situation, and then we come down here. We have this 247, which is your 50-day, and then we have to retest that 244 level. But just look at here how we are. This MACD is looking very good because your green is over red, shows good momentum to the upside, which is pretty obvious. But it seems like when it just gets just a little bit into that, where that green turns blue, that's a little bit of overbought situation that it wants to pull right on back. So if it does pull back, I think this would be a good buying opportunity going into the end of the year because the simple reason is, Christmas time, do Apple phones, all that kind of stuff like that. And that could work out very, very nice. But the key is watch that 274.14 level there today. If you crack up there, obviously you can go 280, 290, but you're going to work yourself right up to that 300 mark very, very easily. Okay, let's take a look here now at Amazon. All right, here we have Amazon. This is one of my favorite plays here also. For a simple reason is I think they have a really good product, really good idea. Now, Bezos, okay, he's like a super billionaire, and he deserves everything he had because he's the one with the idea. I mean, he's got a really good situation to make just get on the internet. You can order it before you know it. It's right at your front door. I just love that. And a lot of other people like to shop instead of going out and down actually do the shopping. So this actually works out very, very nicely here, okay? Now they have that system where we have like a distribution center in our area, and man, that really works out nice because it's way better than what UPS and FedEx were doing. You can guarantee your package there, 1, 2 o'clock, boom, they take a picture, sit right at the door for you. Very, very nice, okay? And very in a timely fashion also. Okay, so you can see here we have this sideways consolidation. Came right on down here, and now we're back above that 200-day. Now, so far, we got this bottoming tail here. So really what you're watching on the downside is you're watching that 50-day at 225.15 level. Then we want to watch that 8 SMA here sitting at 224.96. And then we want to watch that 100-day sitting right there at 223. And then we have your 21-day at 221.41. And then we could come all the way down here to your 214 level. Now, Sometimes Amazon has a little bit of issues here with the earnings, but let's just take a look here and see how exactly how they did it. Okay, so this earnings here came up and ran up very, very nicely. Another earnings ran up very, very nicely. Now this earnings here, we came down, we gapped down, and we just held right on off. Now this earnings, nice good rally. This earnings here, nice good rally on up here. So we got to see how today's earnings shake out. So, something in the past doesn't always mean the future. But if you look at the very similar here in the past, you can see how it just ran up very, very nicely after the earnings came in. Okay, this here we dropped it, but then it had a nice good earnings. So again, I think this is a really good buying opportunity here going into the end of the year on a pullback. That's what I'd be looking for on a pullback. Okay, so basically just watch that this area right here, that 225 area and that 221, all these simple moving averages, and you could come down to the 200-day and then maybe even out to that retest at 211 if it does get hammered. Okay, now on the upside here, what you're really watching is yesterday's high. Okay, 232.82. That's going to be key. And then what we do is bring this price channel right across, and you're looking for a 234 level. We bring this price channel across here. We're looking at 235.90, and then we have a nice big retest up there at 238.85 level. Now, again, if we can crack above this 238.85 level right there, you only have one level left, and that's 242.52. You crack above that, that's blue sky. Okay, you're going to go towards that 250 and work yourself all the way up to that 300 mark. Okay, so this here has a really good potential of going higher. Now, when you look at the RSI, you're only sitting at 56 level. The green is over your red, so that shows good momentum. But again, we have to see what they all have to say about on the guidance going forward. That is going to be the very key. Now, again, we had this really nice good run up here off of that 211 area all the way to 232, and then we pulled back. Let's just see how the earnings situation kind of is. Now, again, I trade this exact same way as I do the rest of them, is I buy this way ahead of time. I bought this way down here, and then I'll sell half into the earnings, and then I'll see how the other half goes after the earnings situation. Okay, let's take a look here at MSTR. All right, here we have micro strategies. Okay, so let's just see what we got going here. Okay, so you can see here how it is. We had this nice good double bottom and it ran up nicely, and then we just had basically a series of lower high situation. Now we're selling right on off. So let's just look at the earnings. Okay, so we have the earnings here, this sideways action. This earnings here, it fell down and then it rallied up nice. This earnings here, sideways action. Had a little bit of a run, and then this here, we just came right on down. So this is not something that I own, but I noticed it up on the old board that this had the earnings, so I just wanted to show you exactly what it is. So what we're looking for on the upside is you want to watch that 274 level. That's going to be key, and then we have that 8-day right above it at 284. We get above that, we have that 305 level, and then we have that 321, and then 347 is your 200-day, and then we have your 100-day at 358. But the key to this is got to get back above that price channel at that 365 level. Okay, now again, if you can get above that price channel 365 level, then we have a lot of nice good targets all the way up here. You got that 414 level. We got above here, look at that, you got 430 level. Then we can come up to the top of that candle, you got 456 level until we can just rally all the way up to that 543 retest. Okay, but when you see something like this, okay, that just goes right towards the sky. Okay, that tells you if you are long this stock, you got to take profits on the way up here. Okay, so you don't sell the top. No, it's no big deal. Okay, just take the profits here because something like this never lasts. And then when you compare it here to your way overbought levels. Okay, so here on the downside, we're watching today's low here. You're looking at that 264.56 level. But realistically, you want to bring this price channel down. You look at that candle, that 241. We want to look at that 235.95, and then we want to come right to the bottom of this candle right there, looking at that 231.51 level. Okay, so that's what we're looking for there on the downside. You got to see how this is all going to shake out here. But right now, it just has a sell-off here, and this is really, I don't know. But again, it can also surprise you and tear right back up to the upside. Now we're sitting here on the RSI. We're sitting right at the bottom here, not oversold yet, but you're at the bottom of the situation the same way with here on your MACD. But again, we just have that downtrending situation. So obviously this isn't really looking really that great. So again, if it loses it, just watch the bottom of these candles right here, that 235 area, and that's where that could be headed here on the downside. The upside, again, just watch all these key levels, your 8-day, okay, your 21 SMA here, your 50-day, your 200-day, and then your 100-day, and then basically that big retest at 365. Okay, let's look at here at Gilead Science. Okay, here we have Gilead. Okay, now this you can see here you have a really nice, good uptrending situation going on here. Higher high situation, and a higher high, and then higher low situation. So this is actually a really nice chart, and it's just like moving up more of like a slowly kind of situation. So if you look in the past, you can see here it's not just like popping up; it's just like a nice, good gradual right on up. So let's look at the earnings. So this is what we had, and then it rose up nicely. Okay, we had this earnings period here. It popped right on down after we had this nice run up. This one here, look at it, where it gapped up and then she took right on off again. This one here was like a sideways action. Okay, and then we had this earnings, we popped up and then she sold right on off. So again, maybe a little pop ski on this here. We're not really sure on how that is going to work. So here, let me just pick this up for you. Okay, now, okay, on the downside, you're really watching that 118.50 level, and then we'll come to yesterday's low, 116.70, and then you're looking for that 115.65. That is going to be your support. You have 50-day, then we have the 100-day at 113.99. And then we have 109.69, and then we have your big retest down there at 108.46 level. Okay, so that is your downside action. But upside here, got to get back above that 120.49. Now remember, earnings can pop that right above that, so we got to see how it actually is going to shake out here over time. Okay, so 120.49 level, and then we come on top of that candle, 121.88. And then we'll be looking here for that 124.61. That is going to be the key here. Now you can see here, you break above that. Obviously, you're going to head towards that 150 area because you have kind of like a blue sky situation. Okay, but you really look at this chart here, you really have a bottom left, upper right, a nice, good uptrending chart. So realistically, if this does, like the last earnings, if it does pop up and sell down, this could be an opportunity here to buy and take this thing longer. Okay. Now, again, if it pops up and closed above that 124.61, well, then you can also jump in it and take it longer. Okay. Now, we got to a little bit overbought, came on down, but now we're looking very good. You're sitting right around 55. That's pretty much in the middle here. The green crossed over red because we had that little bit of sell down. But again, right now the chart looks very, very bullish. It just looks like a nice, good uptrending situation. The key is going to be closing above that 8-day. Then we take it higher to that 124.61 level. Okay, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here after you go pick close. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, that Ethereum ETF, ETHU, gold, silver, which are moving up right now. And then we'll look at the crude oil and natural gas situation. All right, trade what's in front of you. Now what you want.